Are you a self-storage owner or operator looking for service providers to help at your facility? Well, the Storage Business Owners Alliance, also known as the SBOA, has you covered. The SBOA is a premier online hub for connecting self-storage owners and operators to industry-leading products and service providers. We provide one-stop shopping for your business with exclusive offers to save time and money. At the SBOA, we believe by coming together, we help owners and operators grow revenue, gain purchasing power, reduce expenses, improve efficiencies, and increase profitability. We also offer many resources such as our conferences and self-storage unlock webinars to help self-storage owners and operators gain the knowledge needed to become more competitive in the industry. To become an SBOA member or to find out more information, please visit www.thesboa.com today. We can't wait for you to join the Alliance.
Thought I was muted there for a second, but I wasn't. Good morning, self-storage industry. Thank you for joining us again for another episode of Self-Storage Unlocked. Today, it is talking all about maximizing marketing impact with Google Business Profile. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jessica Johnson. I'm the president of the SBOA and always very happy to put these on for the industry to help keep everyone out there educated and networking and continuing to learn. So we wouldn't be able to do these great panel webinar styles without our trusted partners. So huge shout out to Storage Reach today for putting this together. We have Kale and Kyla from Storage Reach on today's call. So please, while they're on here and while our speakers, Jim Ross is with us today. Jim Mooney was supposed to be with us today, but unfortunately he has a flight delay, so he might jump in at the end. But we have Iris from my team that's going to jump in because she does all of our Google Business Profile work behind the scenes, and she could talk to you from that perspective. So if you want to interact with us and interact with the speakers, I highly encourage you to do so. This is your time to talk with them live. You can do that over in the comment section. I see some of you are telling us your name and where you're from. Please continue to do that. We'll ask a few poll questions throughout today's presentation. If you could answer those polls, it just helps us to get to know you better. So again, a huge shout out to Storage Reach for putting this together for you today along with us, and 3 Mile Storage, Jim Ross from 3 Mile, and then Freedom Storage Management, Jim Mooney from over there. And hopefully Jim gets to come in towards the end. So I'm going to bring up our first panelist and the one that's going to take over and moderate this bad boy today. I've got Kale from Storage Reach. Good morning, Kale.
Morning. Thanks, Jessica. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Kale, tell us a little bit about you and your storage background, because you've got quite the storage background, and then how you've kind of transformed in this Storage Reach deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, my name is Kale. I am the CEO and co-founder of Storage Reach. We are a automated platform to help facilities generate and manage their Google reviews. My background started kind of right out of college. I joined Easy Storage Solutions. I became the vice president of marketing at Easy Storage back when Easy Storage was, really small, had about 100 clients. I ended up helping run their marketing division, where we offered SEO and online marketing to clients. Was able to grow that in the 7 years that I was there, from 0 clients to over 1,500. Was able to be a part of the Easy Storage marketing team as well, and actually marketing Easy Storage. After Easy Storage was purchased, I was able to move over with the Storable team for a while. I was the webmaster at Storable, worked pretty closely over there. During that time, during my time with Easy Storage and managing all of those SEO accounts, I really saw the power in reviews, how much reviews impacted storage facilities, Google My Business pages, how much it impacted their ranking, their website traffic, and conversion rates as well. When we always recommend to facilities, whether or not, they could, is to generate reviews. That always, would go for about a week or so, and then they'd kind of stop. So I left Storable, wanted to create a platform that helped to generate those reviews efficiently and affordably. And that's Storage Reach, and that's where we're at today.
That's awesome. And yeah, I'm happy that we're doing this topic. I think it's critical. Anything to help SEO. I tell everyone out there, Google's algorithm right now, I think the last time I looked, there's 149 different factors that play into that algorithm. If you could at least try to own maybe the top 10 as an owner operator, I think you're doing right. Like, obviously you're not going to do all 149. It would be impossible. Yeah. I think even if you had a team, but search demand is down overall for self-storage. So we need to be getting them to us quickly. And I always say, whatever you can do to feed that Google beast, the reviews, clear photos, updating your profile, whatever it may be. These are very simple tasks that are pretty much free for you to do, or, utilize a resource like Storage Reach, which is a minimal cost to get you the results that you need. So again, can't wait to discuss this today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, I'm going to bring up Jim Ross from 3 Mile Storage. Jim, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. Jim, tell us, I'm pretty sure everybody in the industry knows who you are, but tell us who you are just in case and what you do over at 3 Mile.
Of course. I'll keep it short and sweet here. No, my day job is I run a property management company. Done that for a minute or maybe 20 years. I don't know, time flies. So I do property management, and a lot of the stuff that I talk about in my podcast or trainings and things like that is this kind of what I've been doing day in and day out. So being invited to do something like this and talk about Google Business Profile is awesome, because that's what I do to help.
Yeah. And you've been doing this training, right? You offer this training to your community and your following?
For sure. Yep, definitely. Yeah. Anything that can help move the needle to get, phone calls and rentals, for sure. So this is a great topic.
This definitely is one. Well, thanks for being here, Jim. I'm going to bring up Kyla next from Storage Reach. Kyla is going to be here with us today as well. Good morning, Kyla.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Tell us all about you. You've got quite the storage background too.
Yes. So I've been in marketing for probably about 10 years. And about 5 years ago, joined Kale actually at Easy Storage Solutions. I came on the marketing team there. SEO and like content marketing was kind of the background that I came in with. Then I moved, same with Kale, to Storable, and I worked on the Storable creative team for a while. There I did content again and kind of this background of writing and creative, but also SEO marketing for storage facilities. And when Kale moved over to Storage Reach, I knew I had to follow again. So here I am. It's been a wonderful change, and it's been fun being in this storage industry.
That's awesome. And yeah, we get really good reviews about your product, your program, your services. I know, unfortunately, like I said, I hope Jim Mooney is able to jump in it towards the end. I know he utilizes you guys, and he speaks across the country like I do at all the trade shows. And I saw recently a presentation that he did where he was showing results prior to using Storage Reach and then using you guys, and just how many more reviews he got. And that's critical stuff. So I really encourage the audience, as you listen to today, if you have any interest in learning more about Storage Reach, you reach out to either Kyla or Kale and get more information. So, and I'm going to bring up our last panelist, last but certainly not least. I have Iris from our team today, and Iris does all of our Google Business Profile work. So Iris is going to step in for Jim Mooney since he's not here. And if he joins in, we'll add him in later. But Iris, tell us all about you and your storage experience.
So I have been with the SBOA since 2022, and I'm the marketing manager, and I handle our Google accounts, our advertising. And I think this is a great, really important topic for everybody who has a business, because 99% of the world is using Google to find products and services. So I'm glad that we're all getting together. We have great experts here, and hopefully, like you said, Jim Mooney will be able to join us later too.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you mentioned it's not just for storage, it's for any type of business that you have out there. I own 3 bars in Jacksonville, and we're actually in the month of June. All my bartenders were running a Google review contest because we had a couple bad ones come in. So I'm trying to get some positive ones in there to kind of help bury some of those negative ones. But, I teach them, they got a QR code, they hand it out to a customer, they ask for the review, they ask for them to mention their name. And that's the contest that we're doing. So we can get into talking about that with everybody too, about how you can incentivize your teams even to try to, attract and get some of these reviews in for you. So let's bring everybody up and let's get this started. And Kale, I'm going to let you kick it off. For those out there that don't know what a Google Business Profile is, tell me what it is.
Yeah, for sure. So Google Business Profile, kind of like what you said, it's a free tool that Google provides in order for you to, show your local and rank locally on the searches that your industry is in. It's a tool that allows you to kind of manage your online presence. It's a way for Google to say, all right, these are all the local businesses in the area, and these are how we're gonna show you where they're at on the map. We're gonna show you their rankings. We're gonna show you their reviews. A number of different things. An interesting tidbit about the Google Map Pack is about 46% of searches on Google are for local businesses, which is a pretty high number. 50% of those clicks on local businesses or for searches on local businesses are actually going to the Google Map Pack. So it's a really powerful tool. That's an extraordinary amount of clicks going to that map pack. And the nice thing about the map pack is it is a free tool. It's a way for you to compete with, maybe a REIT in your area or somebody with a bigger budget and maybe pay-per-click. It's a nice way that, small businesses can compete with the big players because that doesn't really matter how much you're spending. What matters is whether or not you're optimized, whether or not you're getting reviews, proximity to the locations, and a number of different things that we're most likely going to talk about today. So it's a free tool. I encourage everybody to use it, and we can kind of continue on from there.
Well, and you mentioned Map Pack. And again, just for the audience that might not know what that acronym is or what that means, can you explain that?
Yeah, so the Google Map Pack is when you're searching locally, there is, I'm sure you've seen it on the top of your searches. There's that map at the top that has like A, B, or C that shows different local businesses. That's what we call the Google Map Pack. You can click into that map pack and view as many local businesses as you want on that Google Maps page. But the map pack is just that listing at the top that actually shows those maps.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Now let's go into, Kyla, maybe you could tell me a little bit about this because I'm sure you do work with this. What's like some of the easy ways to help optimize a GBP, not GM, whatever the acronym is now, a GBP page?
Yeah, so it used to be Google My Business, now Google Business Profile. You probably hear both GMB or GBP. Either way, you definitely want to make sure your information's accurate. People are on there looking for your facility hours, your phone number, links to your website. So all that information is really important to make sure it's accurate and up to date. You want to use photos if you can. Take photos of your facility. If people are asking about security, the entrance, anything like that, add those to your listings because then it's right there. That information's readily available. Other things is if you have offers, you can post them. There's a functionality to post almost like a social media. So it's easy to add, here's the special we're running for this month. Any of those types of things, add them to there. Make sure it's readily available when people are looking. And then one other thing we always push is reply to comments, good or bad. The feedback is important and people will make decisions based off of those reviews that are on there. So if they see you're replying, you're understanding, you're taking in the critical feedback, if you're responding to the good ones, all of that helps clients and potential customers make a decision.
Yeah, definitely. And this is, I would say, something that you want to be looking at often. How often would you say, and Jim, I'll toss this one over to you because I know you do training on this. Yeah. How often are you telling people that they should be going to their Google Business Profile and making updates? Is it like a weekly thing, bi-weekly, monthly? What do you suggest as far as a cadence?
I used to say weekly, but no one does it. So if you can do at least once a month, seriously, if you do at least once a month, because we all do like our month-end reports, we're looking at our monthly summaries, that kind of thing. Just add that to your checklist. I'm like, all right, cool. Checking this. Now I'm going to check my Google Business profile because things are always changing. And there's kind of like a little carousel at the bottom of your profile that's almost like a little to-do list that Google is giving you. And all the updates and things will be right there. So it's one of those things where it's just keep it top of mind. At least once a month is good to go in just to double check what's new, what's changed, because there have been some recent announcements of things that are changing. So, yeah.
Well, we do this, like even, I'm sorry, Kale, I'll get to you in just a second. Just on like the social media side, we're saying at least post at least, once a week, because what pains me the most is when I see a business that has been dormant for like 6 months. And then all of a sudden there's like rapid fire posts for like 4 weeks in a row. And then they go dormant again for another 6 months. There's like no consistency there. So some sort of consistent frequency is something that you should definitely put into play. There's many tools. Iris, talk about Hootsuite and how you utilize Hootsuite to kind of help with that process.
Hootsuite is great for your social media presence because if you have more than one platform, which most of us do, we have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. So Hootsuite allows us to go in and make one post. And Hootsuite distributes it to all of our platforms for us. And we can schedule it out. I can schedule it out a month ahead of time if I want to. And best of all, it's free. So you can't lose with that. And it has an automatic scheduling feature where it will schedule it for the best time for your audience when it will be seen by the most eyes. So I love Hootsuite. I know lots of people use it. And we use it in conjunction almost all the time with Canva, which is another free service to create your graphics.
Yeah, definitely. Kale, you were going to say something. Sorry, I'm going to go to you.
Yeah, no. So going back on, what Jim said is checking it often, checking your Google business page often, because there are things that, we've seen across the industry. Sometimes things get changed. So you want to make a conscious effort to stay on top of that. In Google business page, this is getting kind of more down to the nitty gritty stuff, but there are ways that people can go on, they can suggest an edit on your Google business page. Sometimes Google doesn't notify us if those edits are actually applied to your business page. So like when Jim said, you want to go on it weekly to check because, something like an hour changed by somebody and for some reason Google didn't notify you of that. You want to make sure that you're checking on that because that can be, catastrophic to your, not catastrophic, but it can cause a bad impression on somebody that is wanting to use your facility or wanting to look at your facility. Maybe the open hours were changed and you didn't notice that. They weren't trying to contact you and you're closed, kind of makes your customer service look bad, and can kind of cause a domino effect from there. So making sure you're keeping it up to date and checking on it is extremely important.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up operating hours. I mean, I think that's, every piece of information needs to be accurate, right? Especially if you're going to be across multiple listings. If your Google business profile, let's say you're on ABC Street, and it's written out as street, but then another listing, you abbreviated it ST period, that could cause some issues with citations and everything. So that's something else we could talk about. But with all of this being said, let's talk about a little bit of how you're going to leverage this for engagement and growth within your business, Kale.
Yeah, I mean, so the first step to leverage that is, there's optimizing that page to the best of your ability is going to be the first step, because once you're optimized, you'll be able to leverage that to rank higher on Google. And like I said before, 46% of clicks are going to local searches, and 50% of those are going to your Google business page. So just by optimizing that and ranking higher is going to be a huge benefit for you and your business. But there are different things in the optimization process. Jim's gone through this a lot with his clients, but like categories, for example. Luckily in storage, we don't have a lot of choices in categories. In Google business pages, there's over 4,000 different categories that you can choose from. In storage, we have about 4 or 5 that we want to choose from as our primary category. That primary category is going to be the most important category that you want to rank for. If you're an RV and boat for storage facility, you would want to do RV storage. If you're a self-storage, what we found is the most powerful one is self-storage facility, because that, includes a longer tail keyword than just self-storage. So that primary category is your most targeted keyword that you want to rank for. And then then you also have like your secondary categories, and the secondary categories are not necessarily as weighted as heavily, but they are, up there with the ranking factor is your primary category. So there's where if you want to put like RV storage, or if you want to put box and moving supplies, things like that, you can add into those services. So just enable to utilize Google My Business Optimizer or Google Business Page Star to the best of your ability is going to be the best way to leverage that. And then, we can go into the topic of reviews, because that is a large topic in that. But as far as optimizing it goes, that's kind of the first step I would take in order to leverage that. And the categories is one of the most primary ones that you can hit.
Yeah, and I had a brain moment there. I'm going to go back to my hours comment, because I stopped and made a different comment about citations and listings. But back to the hours, and I saw this a lot through COVID. People were not updating their hours, and that is frustrating to a consumer to go onto Google and expect to pull up to your front door of your facility and you're still open at 8 p.m. if it says that, and then you not be. So definitely, doing the operating hours, and then with people being like remotely managed now, making sure that that's listed there, hours of operation for the office, or when you can actually come in and speak to somebody. I mean, those are going to be critical things to have out there on that page. So let's get into the review talk. Jim, you're doing a lot with the Google review side, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Talk me through that. Like, what's the process look for you? Like, how do you train your staff on get the review, ask for the review? What do you do?
Well, process is the key word right there, because I've done it before and after. I've done it before when it's been like a manual thing of like, okay, they're coming in, training the managers to, make sure you're asking for the review before they leave out the door. But a lot of us now are remote, or a lot of people are moving in remotely and not in the office. And so we were losing that communication. So it's just, that's where Storage Reach kind of came into play, but it's just systematizing those requests. So you're hitting them when they move in, and that's usually when they're actually the most apt to following through and giving you a review, is when they've already said yes to moving in. They've said yes to giving you money. Cool. Now they're going to give you a review. So it pings them right then when they're moving in, a couple times as their current customers, and again when they move out. So you're spreading it out. But if it was just up to not having a system and just being like, oh yeah, I should send out some review requests, you're leaving so much on the table. And as soon as I started doing the systematizing it was night and day, seriously, compared to what we were getting before.
Yeah. I mean, like I had mentioned earlier with the one bar in Jacksonville, like we're doing a contest right now, but I'm hoping with a 30-day contest, after that, it just becomes like inherent for my bartenders to start like keep asking. Let's pray it does. But that's kind of the goal with it, right? And whoever wins is going to get bonused on it. So Kale, talk me through that. Do you hear a lot of owners and operators say that they have this built into like a management incentive program that they offer?
Yeah, we hear that a lot. And that's, the best way to get it is face-to-face if you're going to be requesting it.
Sure.
If you don't have a manager in place, or, a lot of times managers just forget. There's a lot of things on their plate to do, especially on a move in or move out. There's a lot of things that they're doing, and they're managing a facility. So that's where we kind of came into play, is just wanting to systemize that, automate that process. So those people that maybe your manager isn't talking to, or if you are remote, those people that you don't have an opportunity to ask, we're connecting with, we're hitting, and we are, requesting that review and getting that capitalized on a great customer experience that, your facility is providing. But yeah, as far as like incentivizing goes, we have seen different things where, if a manager gets a review, they get a $10 bonus, or we've seen if they do contests and stuff as well, kind of like you're talking about. I've seen that quite often, but really the best thing to have in place is just a system, whether that's with Storage Reach, whether that's just on your own, just creating a process to where, that's just automatically happening, automatically requesting. That's the best way to do it, because, a lot of things are going on in storage when someone's moving in, and we want to be able to create the least or the easiest way possible to get that review. And so systemizing that is the easiest way.
So and this can be either for Kyla or you, tell me what that system is for you. And here's what I mean by that. So I rent from Extra Space locally here. They were the closest and they had the best price at the time. So we all know consumers love that price and proximity. So that's why I went with them. And I want to say, if I'm remembering correctly, their system was, I had moved in, I want to say within 24 to 48 hours, I started getting the SMS messaging through my text message because they had my phone number on file, as well as an email because they had my email address on file. So I was getting pinged in two places, which some may say maybe that's a little aggressive and it's like annoying. Maybe you pick one direction or the other, or you try to handle them both because, again, you don't know. I'm definitely probably going to be more responsive to a SMS because I'm usually near or by my phone, maybe versus that email, coming in and me not being away from my laptop or my desktop or whatever it may be. So tell me about like what your cadence is and what that process looks like for your clients.
Yeah, for our clients, so we did the SMS and email for a while. But we kind of ran into that same problem. It was just kind of getting hit too often. We definitely saw a larger success rate on that SMS message. So that's kind of where we pivoted it to, is only doing SMS. But our cadence is kind of the same thing as what you saw at Extra Space. 24 to 48 hours after they're moving in, we send them a review request through text message. What we found is that a lot of people, a lot of facilities have like a review request and maybe their welcome email. That kind of gets lost in the shuffle because, like I said, a lot of things are going on when you're getting a facility, when you're renting from a facility. You might be getting your lock, or you might be able to get gate code. So things get lost in the shuffle. So we wanted to make sure there's a review text going out after that's kind of died down. That's strictly for reviews. It's not anything else. So that's something that happens a day after someone moves in. We send them a text message. We then kind of prod them along. If they don't interact with that, send them a message 3 days later. And we actually see a higher conversion rate on that follow-up message than we do on the initial message. People are busy, they read the message and then they forget. So then once we push them along, they're like, oh man, I meant to do this. We also hit, current tenants, because there's a few things that we haven't even talked about with Google reviews that Google likes to see. They like to see quality, quantity, and consistency with those reviews. I think 40% of people that look at reviews click on that newest button on the top, so that they sort those. They don't they only like to see reviews in the last 2 months. If not, they kind of kick them away. And so Google wants to see consistency. They want to see that you're actively pushing and actively trying to improve your business. And by doing that, by seeing that consistency, they're going to rank you higher as well. So what we found is, instead of contacting all current tenants at once and getting maybe 20 reviews and then nothing for a few weeks, we kind of spread out the current tenants requests as well. So we send it out to about 5 random ones per week, and that way those reviews are kind of dripping in from your current tenants, because storage also is, you have a gold mine of current tenants that are sitting there that aren't they're probably having a good experience because they're still renting with you, at least. So they're most likely having a good experience. So we want to capitalize on that. So like Jim said before, your best option to get a review is on the move-ins because they're the happiest. But if we have a chance to get a review on a current tenant, we might as well do that as well, because every review counts.
Yeah, definitely. Kyla, anything that you want to add to that, or Jim or Iris, anybody?
That summed it up pretty well. I will say that, you talked about getting those reviews, and last week I went and got my nails done. And as soon as I left the salon, I got a text message asking for a Google review. So,
Awesome.
You can do that. You can probably find an automation tool that will help you with that, so you don't have to type it out every time. I'm sure as soon as they already had my information from my check-in, and just automate it. Less work for you. I love automated anything. So
I mean, they timed it perfectly, right? Like, you had left, you just had either a good or bad experience. It was top of mind for you as a consumer, where you might be like, oh yeah, let me tell them about it,
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about responding to reviews. Kale and Kyla, does Storage Reach help with that process? What does that look like?
So in our dashboard, we have, we're pulling all of your reviews into one place where you can respond to those. Responding to reviews is another way to optimize your Google business page. Google likes to see that you're actively engaged with your page. They like to see that you're, like I said before, actively working on your business page, and that helps you rank higher. And that's one response is a way to do that. I think on Bright Local, their online website, like a management company, a review management company, they put out a survey every year that's pretty in depth. It's has a lot of good information if anybody ever wants to go read that. But they said that about 30% of people expect a response in 2 to 3 days of a review.
Okay.
If you're not responding to those reviews within 2 to 3 days, 37% of people are kind of pushed away from your business. I think I had a statistics on here. I'm trying to find it where I put it, but let's see. Like 76% of people always check responses on reviews. So it's really important. It helps not only with Google to rank higher responding to reviews, but it helps with your trustworthy and credibility to the potential consumer. So yeah, in our dashboard, we have a page where you can actually go in and respond to those reviews. We roll out like templated responses as well, to where you can kind of quickly respond to reviews, especially if you're getting a lot, which, hopefully with us, you are getting a lot. So you have a lot of responses to do. So you can go in, you can utilize templates. It's just kind of a push. You save that review response and it pushes to Google. And so, yeah, we allow you to do that and try to make it as easy as possible. I know Jim has access to the dashboard. He's used it. He's been using us for a few months now, getting a lot of reviews and, having to respond to a lot of reviews. So he can probably go on that as well.
Yeah, I throw my 2 cents.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, just real quick. I don't like the template as far as being like a templated response, because then it just seems like a robot's going, thank you for giving us a review. You want to have it a little more personal. So I actually just use ChatGPT and I'll throw the review in, be like, hey, give me a response. Whatever it gives me back, then I'll kind of customize it from there. But that way it's a little different. It's a little more human-like for each person that's taking the time to give me a review. And don't just say, thanks for the review, next. Thanks for the review, next. No. Have a few sentences, put their name in there, incorporate it, make it more personable. Because that's the whole thing, is we're trying to be people. We're a self-storage business, but you got to personalize this thing. And that's one way you can actually impact when people are going through and looking at responses and reviews and seeing how you're interacting with customers. Cool. Be human. Be nice about it and include their name. Thank you very much. And have a few sentences.
Yeah, definitely. And you should be addressing both positive and negative. And the negative ones, we always suggest don't become combative, whether you think that you're right or wrong in the situation. We're always going to present that the customer is right. And just something simple like, we're sorry you had this experience, please contact our office, or our office will be in contact with you to discuss it further. Don't go into some dissertation on a negative review online. We always try to say, get that offline as possible. Or as quickly as possible to address it with them there. But yeah, the personalization always is a great way to go. I think it makes that person just feel even more special. If they're taking the time to give you the review, and you should be taking the time to respond to it, whether it's through some sort of automation or you're manually doing it. And again, probably want to go the automation route as much as you possibly can if you are getting a large amount of reviews, because it can be daunting. We don't have automation set up right now with my bars. We are actually personally answering every single one of those reviews. So every day I'm logging in to see what our reviews are so we can get those answered. And here's a stat, and this statistic might be a little bit on the older side, but I'm pretty sure it's still up in the low, maybe mid 80 percentile range of people trust online reviews. A lot of people are going to go look at those reviews before they even decide that they're going to call you and try to make a decision of working with you. So if the more they see that you're willing and able to respond to people and serve them, I think it builds trust and credibility with them that you're going to serve them well in the process too, if they are a potential tenant. So let's see here. Let me get back to this. Go ahead, Kale. You had something to say?
Yeah, no, I was just going to kind of testament to that. I'm sure most people in their day-to-day lives, have experienced something like this before. I mean, I was on Amazon a few weeks ago looking at something that my sister recommended to me. And it had like 3.5 stars and 1,000 reviews. So I'm like, well, no, that's not a very good rating. So I'm like, well, my sister's crazy. She doesn't understand what she's talking about. So I didn't buy it. So that's just an testament right there that, people trust, online reviews more than they do recommendations, or as much as they do recommendations from family and friends. Really, reviews are the new word of mouth in today's world. I think I shared this story last time I was on here, but I left a review for a golf course in Phoenix one time. I saw somebody in the chat from Arizona. I think it was like the 500 Club or something like that. Anyways, I left a review, and a few months ago, I got an email from Google saying that over 5,000 people have viewed my review. And it was a good positive review. I wouldn't have told 5,000 people that I liked that course. I don't know 5,000 people. So it was a good opportunity for me to kind of get my voice out there, which people trusted and people have seen. So it's a way for your tenants to kind of get their voice heard, and it's a really powerful way to get credibility out there.
Yeah, so you're like casting that wide net too, right? By putting it online, so many eyeballs can see it. 5,000 eyeballs saw that one, right? So again, it's got huge momentum and velocity and power behind it too when it's worked and mined, utilized in the right way. I'm going to go to some of our poll questions. Audience, if you could answer our poll questions, we would greatly appreciate it. But I'm going to specifically focus on this last poll question because we've got some questions about it. The poll question number 4 is, do you know what a Google post is? Have you utilized those? So if you could put number 4, yes or no, and then yes or no to have you utilize those. But Nathan is asking, he said he never heard about it before. So Jim, I'm going to let you explain it because you explained it in the chat. Tell us what that Google post even is.
Google post is like, just think of it like a Facebook post. We all can equate what that means. Same kind of thing for Google. You're doing a post. I recommend like a weekly, kind of weekly cadence. And it's just one of those things where just think of it like, hey, it's a great day here at XYZ Storage. Thanks for checking us out. You can do a photo, a little short description, and it will give you an option to, well, I don't say it's an option, you should do it, but it'll give you a button to link it to your website or to your call page or your rental page, either way. And it's a great way to, it's one of those things where if Google is telling you to do something or offering you a service that's on a Google profile, don't guess it. Don't be like, whatever. If they're telling you to do something, just do it. Yeah. And I'm not saying just because you do a post, there's a direct correlation to rentals. People are going to see that post and be like, oh, I need a rent today. It's not that. It's going to help your overall profile be optimized, which will boost your overall profile, and that will lead to rentals. So it's just one of those things where, if Google is telling you to do it and give you that option, don't second guess it.
And it seems like the majority of our audience today, from the responses I'm getting, did not know what a Google post is, nor are they utilizing it. So, Jim, I know you do some training on this. I know there's free training out there on Google. Any other resources, Kale or Kyla, that you know of that you could recommend for people to really dig in and figure out how to, I think even Storage Pug has written many, many, many ebooks that tell you how to do this. There's so many free resources out there, but what are some of your favorite ones that you guys have used?
Favorite one as far as utilizing to post to Google business profile, is that what you mean?
Yeah, or just all these things that they could be doing. There's free, Google gives a free training, Jim does a training, but there's ebooks out there. Are there any ones that are notable to you that you remember that you read and step-by-step playbook on how to utilize, optimize everything with the Google business profile?
Yeah, I saw there was a one out by Storage Pug a few weeks ago that did a really good job. They do a good job of, focusing on the storage facility industry. I've watched a lot of videos online on YouTube, especially. There's a place called SE Rankings, I believe is what they're called, that put out a good tutorial on how to optimize and how to post to Google. But they're not storage specific. Storage Pug does a good job of, posting stuff that's storage specific. And we have articles and stuff on our site as well to talk about optimizing your Google business page, and kind of focus more on the storage industry. But yeah, as far as your Google business posts and things, that is kind of what we recommended. Like what Jim said is, weekly if possible. Not a, I mean, maybe Jim's had a different experience with this, but not a ton of people look at those posts. It's really just showing Google that you're active. It's like you said at the very beginning, feeding the beast. That's what we want to do is we want to show Google that we're active and we're actively pushing our Google business profile. So that's what that really does. And it gives you an opportunity to show whether promotions or posts or, maybe celebrate holidays or things like that. It just gives you the opportunity to do something small and show them you're active.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go back to the poll questions because I see some people answering poll question number 3, which for the audience is, are you tracking your Google reviews? Yes or no. So you could write number 3, yes or no. And do you respond to all of them? You can write yes or no. It looks like Brandy said yes. And then Nathan said yes, too. They're using a service called Bird Eye, which we know of and have heard of to keep up with that. They also have an AI assistant with helps quickly, and AI is coming into the industry, and Jim can talk about AI because I know he's fascinated by it. All of your posts are about something with AI. But there's an AI assistant now with this Bird Eye platform that helps them quickly create new responses, which are fairly personalized. We have an AI tool coming out soon that we'll be happy to announce. It's kind of going to do the same thing, not with reviews. It's with, listening into calls. But it's pretty cool how quickly the AI technology can generate it and turn it very personalized very quickly. It's almost a little scary. So Jim, anything you want to add on the what you see in AI coming in?
Oh, geez. We need a whole webinar just on that.
We do.
Seriously. No, it's, again, you've seen my posts and that. I'm always trying to dedicate some time to just learning to see what's going on, just playing with it. With the way for storage, the way I see it kind of getting sprinkled in is, like you said, with call centers, kind of listening in, it will give recommendations on what could have been done better and kind of cadence and how the emotion was in the call.
Mm-hmm.
That's ready here and now, and that's not like future. That's already here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I use it every day for my reviews. Like I mentioned before in ChatGPT, I just throw in the review and it kind of spits out the way to respond to that, and I'll change it a little bit, but it gets me, 90% of the way there. I use it for my going back to the updates we were talking about. That's how I create my images for my updates.
Mm-hmm.
It's all AI generated.
Yeah,
it's fun.
it really is taking out like.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's taking out like a lot of like the manpower, like you were saying, like, something we utilize ChatGPT a lot over here. Let's say I'm asked to write an article. An article for me used to take me like a day by the time I would craft it, perfect it, fine tune it, have someone proofread it, give me their edits. Like an entire day, where now I can put a prompt into an AI generative tool and say, write me a self-storage article about the best moving tips for moving day. And it'll give me a decent outline. And I like to use the word outline because do not take and copy and paste that and use it verbatim. That's plagiarism. That's a whole other rabbit hole we don't want to get down. But take that and then put your brand identity and your brand voice to it and how your brand would speak to your consumer and fine tune it. It's way easier to be an editor than a creator. Iris and I create content all day. I'm sure Kyla does. Jim, you do. Kale, I'm sure you even do. It takes a lot to write content. You get writer's block and then you just sit there and you stare at the wall and go, I don't even know what I want to write about. Now we've got these prompts through generative AI technology that kind of help get those creative juices flowing again. So there's so much. You're right. We could have an entire webinar just on that topic. So
we should. And just real quick, a quick action item that people can take away, kind of blending AI and our Google business profile here. When you log into your profile, the number one thing I see when I'm doing these optimization sessions with people is their description, which is the first thing you look at under your profile is your description.
For sure.
You have 750 characters to play with. Most people are like 300 characters and they leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you're going to get your optimization. That's so important. So I do use ChatGPT. Like, give me a 750 description for my business. Again, I'll change it. Gets me most of the way there.
Yeah.
But it helps take so much of the guesswork out of it. So
yeah, I can write an article now. I can probably have a well-written, fine-tuned article now within an hour, where, like I said before, it would take me a day, at least a day, to like really thoughtfully put something together.
And it's really important that those descriptions have your keywords in there.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
going to help you get higher on that list on the Google search. So don't just stuff it with, a bunch of useless information. Make sure you're making the most of those 750 characters.
Absolutely. That's a great point. And everyone is answering for number 3. They are tracking their Google reviews. Yes, and they are responding. So virtual high fives to you guys. That's what we want to hear. That makes me happy to hear. Going to go back to a poll question, and then I'm going to have Kyla talk to us about how you can integrate your Google business profile with your marketing strategy. But question number 2 was, when was the last time you updated your Google business profile? So if you could put number 2, a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago, be honest about it. We won't judge you, but give us some answers out there. When was the last time you updated your Google business profile? And while you're answering that, Kyla, talk to me about how this can play into your overall marketing strategy. Because like when people ask me, like, marketing is intricate, right? I mean, I say it's an onion. I mean, you got to peel back layers upon layers upon layers upon layers in marketing. We're all marketing people here. But give me some pointers on like some easy tips for marketing strategies and integrating these two together.
Yeah, so Google My Business or Google Business Profile is really considered like local SEO. When people are searching storage near me, like you mentioned earlier, proximity, you're reaching the people that are close to your facility. So we kind of touched on it, but like optimizing the keywords in your profile and those listings, your description, making sure you're using that information to your advantage so people know you're a facility in this area that offers XYZ. Using that post, again, it doesn't necessarily directly lead to a lead coming in, but using that post is showing Google you're active, you're staying consistent on there. And so posting frequently shows like, we're a legitimate business, we're active, we're wanting people to come and find us. So utilizing those posts, and it's a way to show, again, offers, specials, any type of that stuff you're showing. You can put events on there. You can add call to action links so people can click to your website. There's all those options. And then because you want reviews, it's also important to listen to those reviews. So if you are getting negative feedback, or there's even positive reviews, will sometimes say this was great, but this wasn't a great experience in this area. Listen to those and use those to refine your business, make decisions for future. If you're getting a lot of reviews that, oh, my facility, everything was great, but it's really dark, use that to then, okay, in the future, let's add lighting. It'll make people feel more secure. Any of those reviews are valuable feedback. And so that can directly go into your future plans of how you can improve your facility.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, on the review side, and if you're working with, there's companies out there, like they said, Bird Eye, there's reputation.com. You guys do this work. You can pull out those word sentiments. So I can literally drill into just a simple word like too expensive, like, does that, like, am I price too high? Maybe I need to come in and back off some of my pricing. If I keep getting reviews that says this facility is way too expensive, or if I see the word dirty, like if I keep consistently seeing the word dirty in reviews, then I've got a cleanliness problem probably at the facility that I need to address with the property manager. So you want to be pulling out those sentiments and whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, to kind of, like you just said, look into it and make better business decisions on how you should move forward in the future. Anybody want to add anything to any of that?
I'm good.
Good. Well, I see a couple mixed. Go ahead, Iris. I'm sorry.
I just put up Jim's stat that he added to the chat down there, and over 58% of businesses that track their website traffic in Google Analytics find that the majority of their local website traffic comes from their Google Business Profile listing.
That's a huge number.
If you weren't sure how important it was, there you go. 58%. It's a lot of business you could be losing.
No, I just want to bring that up because it gets lost sometimes. People just are thinking of local SEO and getting optimized and be able to be seen. It's right there in black and white. I mean, if you're optimizing your Google profile listing, because it is so hyper local, it does feed into your website, which that will help your overall rankings, everything else. So to me, that's my number one priority It's
Yeah,
good to
this
hear.
is super localized business. I mean, and I see some mixed responses on updates. One was last week, one was a month ago, one was 6 months ago. Again, I would highly encourage you, and this is my opinion, to at least be doing something weekly on there. I mean, it doesn't take long, but don't post just to post. Or don't just do stuff to do stuff. Be methodical and thoughtful in the process too. We even preach that on social media. I can tell when someone on social media is like, oh, haven't posted in a while, I'm going to toss something out there. And it just has like no relevancy whatsoever, and it's like, but again, if you can get into a cadence of where it's at least once a week, like I said earlier, when I go to a profile page and I see that the last update was like 6-9 months ago, my initial gut reaction is that business is most likely closed. And maybe it's not. They just might not have an active online presence. And people are coming online to find you. You all have to get over it. It's just the way it is of the world now. We are in a digital age. Yes, they still call. Yes, they still walk in. But when you look at statistics, I mean, we've owned facilities for 25 years. When you look back at like prior to COVID, a lot of it was call and walk in. Not a lot of it was web. And now that you look at the reverse of it, the majority of the traffic is coming in through the web interaction. It's not coming through walk-in and calls. Walk-in and calls, like I said, still have a role. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like people aren't doing that, but the majority have shifted to the digital side for sure.
Yeah. I just want to kind of jump in on that stat too that Jim posted with the 58%. I think one thing that's interesting and like one thing that is, helps me when I'm thinking through, marketing and things is 58%. That's, a large number. That's not 58% of traffic coming through your pay-per-click ads. It's not from your organic ranking. That is your Google business profile, which, like I said in the beginning, is the best way to compete with the REITs who have a lot of money to throw at Google ads. Not saying Google ads aren't important. You definitely want to do those if you want to push and get more occupancy. It's better to have a spot, in your Google ads, also on your Google business map pack and in the local organic rankings. If you're hitting 3 spots, you're taking up a lot more of that real estate on that search. With someone searching for, self-storage near me, they see your ad, they see your Google business page, they see your organic ranking. There's, I think, 9 spots that pull up at the beginning. If you're taking up 3 of those, you're a lot more likely to take that click. And, especially, again, with that 58%, it's also helping your pay-per-click to keep harping on those pay-per-click. If you are, if they see your Google pay-per-click ad, when I think 27% of clicks go to pay-per-clicks, about 42% go to your Google business page, and the other remaining go to your organic. If they're seeing your ad at the top and then they see, oh man, I saw this facility here, and then I'm seeing them on your Google map pack and they have a good star rating, a good review count, that you're just so much more likely to get that click. And that's why your Google profile helps not only with your, traffic, but it helps with your pay-per-click conversion rates. It helps with your SEO. It helps with so many different things. It's like Jim said, that's why Jim pushes it so hard, is it's as important as anything.
It really is important. And I like Jim's comment here. You're essentially mirroring your website, which is totally accurate. The both of them feed into one another for sure. And you want to get people, to the website as quickly as possible. And you can do that with a really good Google business profile listing. Iris, I'm going to push this question to you because it came up to me and it's not even in our outline here today, but I know you had to experience this with us. And I know some owners out there are having to experience this because they are remotely managed. They don't necessarily have like an office or a storefront. We just redid the SBOA's Google business profile and we don't have like a office or store. We have a shared office now. So we didn't have a sign that specifically said like SBOA. So Iris had to go through some hoops to get our Google business profile like cranking. So talk me through the challenge that you can have and how you kind of had to mitigate through that challenge.
Well, and part of the challenge also came in because we had moved our main office. So we went from Farmington to Birmingham, and I had to go down to the office, take a video of showing the street, where the office was, where the signage was, showing the address number. And then you have to wait for a physical postcard to come in the mail from Google. And we waited a long time. They said they sent it and we didn't get it. Like we just had issue after issue with that. So you do have to be patient, and you also really have to keep up on it because they're not going to tell you we couldn't update because something was wrong. You just have to keep going in and checking, is it right? Has it been fixed? And it can be very frustrating, but it is important, just like everything we've talked about for the past hour. We know you want to have a good Google business profile.
Yeah, definitely. Let's throw this comment up that Jim just made. Another motivating factor to have updated photos on Google Business Profile listings, with photos receive 42% more requests for driving directions and 35% more click through to websites just by having updated photos. But let's throw this out there. Make sure they're photos of your facility and not stock photos that you found online, because we're not going to catfish our tenants, right? It has to be a photo of our actual facility, a good quality photo, whether you took it with a nice high quality smartphone, there's plenty of them out there, or you hired a professional photographer to do it. Please make sure those photos on your Google Business Profile and your website are of your actual facility. We see that happen a lot out there. Alana Ross jokes with me all the time. She travels around the facilities. I have too, and we'll sometimes look them up to decide if we're going to step foot on the facility or not. And there's some alarming photos that can be found out there. So Jim, talk to me about what you guys suggest for good quality photos.
I always tell people, go out when it's a nice sunshiny day, not in the dead of winter.
Yeah, exactly.
Put your best foot forward. Take 20
Right.
of them. Take 20 pictures. Ideally do
We're gonna glamour shots, not catfish shots, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And trust me, I run some sites. It's like putting lipstick on a pig, but you got to do it. Seriously, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But take them landscape, because that uploads the best. Do 20 photos and then just upload 2 a week. Kind of having that's the whole thing we keep talking about, is consistency. So at least that way it's showing some consistency updates.
And Google likes to see like interior, exterior photos of your team, photos of your product. I mean, there's lots of photos that you can put out there.
Yeah, kind of going back to one of the first things I said about that little carousel that's kind of below your profile.
Yeah.
It'll actually tell you right there, add an exterior photo, add an interior. Because even though you may have uploaded them, they just weren't tagged that way. So just got to make sure that's done. And the quick little ninja trick here is also on the photos. When you go to upload, you'll also notice it says you can upload a video. You can do a 30-second video. And I don't see anyone doing this. And I've had some videos for years that are still on there and getting, last time I looked, I think one had like 9,000 views in small little market kind of a thing. And don't overthink it. Just do a 30-second video. Cool. Hey, thanks so much for checking XYZ Storage. Best value in town. Click the button to rent a unit. Give us a call. Don't overthink it. Upload it, like I said, under 30 seconds, and you'll be amazed at the traction I can get.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we have about 4 minutes left. So audience, if you have any final questions for any of the panelists today, now is your time to ask those. But Kale,
Happens a lot.
I've been sick the past couple of days, so please just excuse me. My brain is complete mush. Kale, wrap this up. Tell me how important local SEO is. Tell me how to get in touch with you all. And let's see if the audience has any final questions for us.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it. I think the most telling stat is what Jim said, is 58% of business traffic is from your Google business page. If you're not capitalizing on that 58%, then you're not where you could be. Your occupancy could be higher, your click-through rate, your conversion rate, everything could be higher. Google Business Page is the easiest and the free. It's a free tool to capitalize on, and if it's easy. It's easy to do. You just have to be consistent on it. I think that's a big word that we've been talking about, is consistency. So making sure that you're consistent, making sure that you are optimizing it, up-to-date data, everything like that, and getting reviews is the best way that you can do that. And it's a simple way to push your facility higher and hopefully, increase that occupancy, because that's the main goal of everything that we do.
Yeah, definitely. And when we post this video, we'll have all the panelists' information, their contact information, names, phone numbers, email addresses. If any of the audience wants to get in touch with us, it will be in the follow-up email that we send with this video recording. And just so everyone out there knows, all Self-Storage Unlocked episodes are always recorded for future watching in the future. If you want to watch any of our past episodes, you can become an SBOA Enhanced member. You get access into our online platform where you'll be able to go back and watch. We're almost done now with Q2. We have one more webinar at the end of Q2, which will be on June 20th. Stay in touch with our newsletter and our social media about that topic. We'll be announcing that probably today or tomorrow. And then we also have our dates for all of our Q3 webinars. We're still working on gathering, the titles and descriptions and some of the panelists for those, but we at least have the dates. So if you follow the SBOA online or you follow our newsletter, you can pencil in those dates. Self-Storage Unlocked is usually on Thursdays from 11 to 12 Eastern Standard Time. We are wrapped up right now for the trade show season. It sounds like Kale and Kyla are as well. Jim, I'm not sure if you are, but just for people out there in the industry so they know, just because we're wrapped up doesn't mean the industry is. The Great Lakes Show in Illinois is at the end of this month. I believe it's June 25th and 26th in Chicago, followed by the California Self-Storage Association, their Napa. I'm sorry, not the Napa event, the Balboa event. I get these two mixed up, is in mid-July. Again, you can go online. You can go to the Illinois Self-Storage Association website and the California Self-Storage Association website to find out further details on those two upcoming events. They're great events. The one in California has Joe Margolis, the CEO of Extra Space. He's their keynote speaker. So I highly encourage you guys, if you're out on the West Coast and can make it over to California. I attended that event last year and it was a really, really well put together event. I also attended Chicago last year. And again, that's another well put together event. So check those two events out. Check out the SBOA schedule coming up and you can become an enhanced member with us. Iris will put the details in the chat for you as well in the follow-up email that we'll send to you. Everyone, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your insight with us. It looks like the audience is quiet with questions, but at least they interacted with us on those poll questions, which gave us some good insight as to what people are doing out there. So thank you again for joining us. We can't do these type of events without you. And like Ira said in the chat, join your state association if you haven't already. And if you want to take an even elevated approach, join the National Association. And if you join the National Association or any of the states, or even if you don't, the upcoming event for the big national one will be in September in Vegas. It's usually the Tuesday right after Labor Day. We will all be out there, I'm sure. I know the SBOA will be out there, but we can't wait to see everyone in person again soon in the fall when we kick off the fall trade show season. So thanks for being here, everyone. The next Self-Storage Unlocked episode is on June 20th. Stay tuned for those details. Have a great rest of your day and a good weekend. Take care, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See ya.